was happening.
All right, we are recording. We're ready to begin, I believe.
Okay, and I will call to order the special meeting of the Perry Township Board of Trustees for April 27th at 7:00 p.m. Ms. Kaler, if you'd call the roll, please.
Trustee Wen,
Yes.
Trustee Hartshorn,
Yes.
Trustee Mears.
It's work session, right?
Oh,
Yes, work session.
it's work session. My bad.
Yeah, yes.
I've got two different agendas in front of me. So the first thing for our agenda is to discuss our record retention and request policies. Did you guys have anything on that? I know Chief Littleton recently presented us with some information on record retention, and I have recently downloaded the Ohio Township Manual for records retention. And I guess basically I'm under the impression we need to write a policy or update a policy.
Yeah, I had sent the copy of it's like an I-9 form or something like that that the township has on file with the state. I had gone through that and I ended up getting a copy from the state, and then I got a copy from Rhonda previously. So I do have that. I think I sent that at one point. Let me see if I can.
And we did approve that at one meeting, right?
That was like in 2019, I think,
Okay.
was the approval date on that.
Okay.
But there is a list in this township manual that goes through just about everything from gas receipts to hunting and fishing license records to payroll records. It lists everything and says what the suggested length of time is to keep each type of the different records. It breaks it down for township offices, township police departments, fire departments, road departments, zoning departments. So we might want to sit down and use that as a guide, or just use it. But that's up to you guys, what you want to do with that information. I can send you the links in email if you want to look at it and see what you think.
Yeah, because sometimes I don't think we need like the fishing and hunting because we don't do anything with that. So yeah.
Exactly. It's just, it lists every possible document that a township could ever have.
Yeah.
We don't need Board of Education or Board of Health documents either.
Right. So maybe we can just look at it and take out some.
Mm-hmm. Pick and choose what we need and what we don't.
What applies?
Jason, do you have any thoughts on it?
Well, I'm trying to pull up a copy of what's actually on our RC2, but I'm having some problems actually pulling it up. Actually, I guess I had sent it out to the two of you, or sent it out to Karen back on April 21st. I think it's when I saw this was going to be on the agenda. So I sent a copy to Karen.
The record, yeah, RC2 on the record retention.
I put copies of all of that in each one of your, except for Jason, everybody's drawer.
Right. So I was thinking, okay, yeah, I've got it.
So basically, I'm having some problems here with my desktop. It's acting wonky, so I'm just going to skip that for right now. Basically, the file retention, we need to go through the file retention both in the township building, in the file storage area, out at the maintenance garage, and bounce that against what we currently have in that RC2. If we want to review the RC2 and update it, we can do that. Like I said, I don't think it's been done since early to mid 19. And then once we update it, we have to submit it to the county and the state, I believe. So we can do that. I mean, that's just something that needs to be done. I think we talked about maybe a month or so ago, excuse me. We had talked about going through the files out at the maintenance garage because there was a lot of stuff just from what's written on the side of the boxes that looks to be outside of the specs of that RC2. So we need to look at that and figure out, with a file retention plan, you have to have a date annually that you go through and remove, destroy documents that are outside of your retention plan. We don't have that day. There's no date marked on the calendar for Perry Township to review stored files and remove anything older than the file retention plan. That's something that we need to get on.
Is there a day in the OTA manual where they break down our monthly calendars? That might
I didn't see one, but that doesn't mean that there wasn't one there. I don't recall one being there. Honestly, it's just something that we would set aside for, a date that makes sense to us. Do it at the beginning of the year, the end of the year, end of the fiscal year, or just the slowest month of the year, because no month is slow, but some are slower than others, I guess, is a good way of putting it. So it'll take some man hours. Charity is going to be in charge of our files and our retention plan, the execution of it. I know the trustees are happy to support and do that review. We just have to figure out what our plan is going to be and build it around our file retention plan.
Okay. So I think we ought to look it over, get familiar with it, and then at one of our future meetings, make either a resolution or a motion to put that into place. Do we want to set a time frame for that?
We could do it in the next month. It might be something good to go and review, like you said, and then reattack at the working session at the end of May, and figure out next steps and what we want to do, and what kind of work is involved with it. If we're going to update the file retention plan, we definitely want to do that before we start doing anything else. If we want to go through and and once we do that, we can review it in a meeting and then decide to accept it and submit to the state. And then we can start planning for merging into conforming with that file retention plan.
And Missy, you were here in 19 when this happened, when this was, I guess, put into place, reinforced.
I was never involved in any records, so I don't know. I don't know if those were done or what was done. So
Okay.
I think it would definitely be good to update it with the current fiscal officer's information. It should be something that's probably done whenever there's a change at the fiscal officer position at a minimum, and reviewed annually for anything that needs to be removed, adjusted, or included.
Yeah, I assume anything that's been filed under previous names is going to have to be updated.
Right.
So it looks like that form is going to have to be redone anyway.
And so, yeah. So do we want to tentatively plan for the May working session at the end of the month? We'll go and read the RC2. We'll do some research, look at the OTA annual calendar, see if there's any suggestions there, and come back with a plan to either update or accept the current RC2, just update the points of contact on it.
I think that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. To revisit in May. All right. The electronic meeting extension, as of right now, the Open Meetings Act electronic extension for COVID expires July 1st. So we probably want to make a decision, given as this is April, we've got May and June, if we want to do something about it, decide if we're going to continue with Zoom meetings. Are we going to do away with Zoom meetings? If we're going to continue with them, what do we need to do to permanently set up for Zoom meetings? I kind of like the option of the Zoom meetings because those who can't come can still join in. But, you know, that's just my opinion. What do you guys think on that?
I agree. This is something that allows us to record meetings in a much more efficient way, and provide those out to the platforms that we then replicate it to. I think I mentioned in the last Board of Trustees meeting, maybe the one before that, recording meetings, even if we're meeting in person, recording meetings on the security cameras in the Township building is not a way to go. The camera placements are not placed very well. There's issues with hearing stuff on the audio. My suggestion is that if we wanted to both be able to record meetings and support residents who couldn't attend or had other stuff going on and still wanted to be part of it, we could persist over the Zoom meetings, but still meet in person. The only catch would be is one, we need a Zoom license, which I got that priced out. That's $149 a year for the government rate. And then also setting up a like a conference room, meeting room camera in the Township building that's properly placed to record the tables up front. And that was something that's on my to-do list, to actually start talking prices with the company that the police force use for their IT needs, and just ballpark that and then run it through a couple other companies for additional quotes and see what that would do. Right now, when the trustees do have to meet in that room, I bring a tripod and a beefy webcam to run those meetings that way. Would like something a little bit more suited towards recording and doing those meetings. So I've also got a plan to meet with some of the other townships about how they record and see what they do IT wise, right? I mean, Zoom is a facilitator. It can facilitate remote attendance to the meetings, the recording of meetings, et cetera, so on. It doesn't have to be Zoom. Zoom just works. So I'm definitely open to that conversation as well, because we're going to need to figure out how we're going to record meetings, and being able to do this does make it easier to put out there on our social media platforms for the Township.
I think from what I've learned from other meetings, Zoom is the most user-friendly.
Mm-hmm.
It's the easiest link to share if we need to copy and paste, because they do kind of like a tiny URL type thing. You don't need a big square chunk.
Mm-hmm.
Onto most everything. You can shrink stuff down to it.
And the other part of it too is that right now I'm attending every single meeting that we have, whether it's BZA or the Township meetings. So having a Township license that's set up for that, and working with Karen to get her comfortable with it, where she can do that for the BZA meetings. And, you know, if the trustees want to attend, that's great, but not having to attend to facilitate the meeting, I think is something that we need to empower Karen and others in the Township to be able to do. So that's another thing, is the ease of use definitely comes into that. You don't want something that's overly complicated. And I'll tell you, the security system is definitely complicated. I've had to pull meetings off of that in chunks and merge the videos together into one video. And it's IT intensive, to say the least. So
for Zoom it is?
No. For the
Oh.
security cameras.
Oh,
So
the ones, yeah.
my point of view has always been that the security cameras set up for the township should be for the use of the police and the police alone. I know that they were used for a period of time to record meetings and stuff, but I think we could do that more efficiently with a slight investment, nothing that's going to break the bank or hurt our budget, but be able to provide the kind of outreach and interaction with the township and make it easier to post it. I mean, that honestly, we're putting out, everything from these meetings, from the financial records, the agendas, the minutes, the recordings, all of it's now available online. So being able to continue that and being able to do that without IT knowledge is key, because, at some point, if I got sick or I wasn't around, being able to continue doing what we're doing would be critical, to have that continuity of operations, to be able to continue to record meetings, put them out there, and not have a dependency on any one person.
Okay. Well, do we want to vote tonight to approve a Zoom license?
We can't.
And
We need a
Working
resolution-
session.
'cause of working session, and we need a financial approval for that anyway, so we couldn't even do a special meeting for it. We can then talk about it at our next meeting, right? But
Yes, we can.
let's look into it then. See, we know what the cost for the Zoom licensing would be. If we can maybe get some quotes or ballpark ideas of what it would be to set everything up for ongoing Zoom, and then bring that to the May trustees meeting and make a vote in May.
Okay. It'll be a little tight, but I think I can at least get a initial round of quotes. At that point, it's, just a matter of labor hours, because the equipment would be static regardless of who gives the quote.
Yeah, my thought is if we don't vote on it in May and it waits till June and then it expires in July, we still have to comply with the Open Meetings Act.
Right.
We need to, decide then how we're gonna do it.
Right.
And I'm sure falling back to the way things were pre-COVID was obviously in compliance then. But I think people have kind of gotten used to having Zoom, and we want to be able to make it easy for the people, for the citizens as well.
Right. What are your thoughts, Trustee Mears? You're looking like you're about
No.
to say something.
No, I agree. I think that's a good thing. And if you can get a ballpark figure or some kind, I think it's a great idea. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I'll get into that. I'll dig into that.
The only other thing on the agenda was to discuss payroll, and I think we've already got that figured out.
Right. So I can give a status on that. Basically, I've been working with the traveling clerk, Mr. Pranger, to set up the batches of paychecks for the police, the road crew, Ms. Kaler, as well as the trustees end of month paychecks. The thing that we're looking at right now, and I got some information from the bank to be able to log on and look at the township's accounts, because the files that they sent me only come up to March 31st. So I don't see any transactions from April 1st forward. So I'm having a problem with that. I need to get with the bank tomorrow to resolve that.
Do we know that there were any? Because
They said that it was set up and they gave me the information to log on, but it's not working, and it's not working the way they said it would. They said it would basically prompt me for some key information on the township, and then I would be able to get into the account. It's not doing that. So rather than mess around with it, I'm just going to give them a call tomorrow. Basically, the issue is that in one of the folders that I had received of the stuff, not the stuff that Trustee Wynn had done, was actually a stack of checks for the police department for the March 22nd to April 4th pay period that were never signed by the fiscal officer. When I talked with Chief Littleton, he had said that they did not receive that paycheck. So that's one of the batches that's currently set to process. The key issue there is that you can only batch a paycheck for a person once before you run the batch. So we generated the paychecks for the police from the March 22nd to April 4th pay period. And then we did the road crew, Karen, for the next pay period, which was April 5th to the 18th, I believe. And we also put in the trustees checks based off the percentages that Karen sent me today. So those are all batched. They're ready to be printed. There's a bit of stuff we have to figure out with how they're going to work in the printer. But we're moving forward there. With the new fiscal officer, Ms. Grill, being appointed today, we did find out that we had to approve the minutes from today, tomorrow, get those to the bank so that the signature card could be updated on Thursday. Until that point, nobody can sign any checks. So these are the steps that we're figuring out as we've been going along. So that's the meaning of tomorrow's meeting. And then our goal is to have the payroll, 2 batches of payroll for the police, then zoning, road crew, and the trustees for the current payroll, and then be current. So having those in the drawer, I'm hoping by Friday morning at the latest for the trustees to sign and Ms. Grill to sign, and then have those distributed by Friday afternoon is the current goal.
Sounds good. I'll be there to sign.
Okay.
Yeah, I can go in Friday morning, I think, and get them signed.
And I'll provide updates through Karen when that's ready. I'm going to be up. I'm actually taking a day to just be up at the township for 6 to 8 hours on Thursday to work with the traveling clerk to try to get all of this done. We've been working it in, 2 hours here, 4 hours here, kind of a thing. And there's so many little things that have to be done that by the time you get all the little things done, you're out of time. And trying to do many different things that I'm responsible for right now, both for the township and outside the township. It's been a challenge, but one that I think that we're making progress on. And that's why we have the goal of getting those in the employees' hands by Friday afternoon.
Yes.
Okay. There are a couple checks, or at least one that I know of, that needs to go out in the mail ASAP. So I don't know if we want to.
So if we prioritize those, because I looked in the blue folder and there's a handful of bills in there, but I don't know what has to be paid sooner than later. We
Well,
can
the
try to
one
get those
is,
done as well. The thing is that I'm going to try to get done everything that I can get done until Ms. Grill is available to start stepping in and working with the traveling clerk.
okay, the one check is the one that Chief Littleton's concerned about,
Right.
and that's got to go.
Right.
So that may need to be an early, quick priority. That's one's got to get out in the mail.
Right.
Okay, well, that was all I had.
That was all we had on the agenda for today.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
was there any comments, concerns?
Questions from anybody?
All right. Well, I'll make a motion that we adjourn for the evening.
I'll second.
Trustee Wynn,
Yes.
Trustee Hartshorn,
Yes.
Trustee Mears.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.